Well, Rob, as soon as I am on with someone, TalkShoe starts recording within 30 seconds. So TalkShoe has started recording. I have it on auto record so that I never forget to push it. But while you're on, I'm glad that you're on a few minutes early. So let me just do an introduction. Welcome to the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. I am your host, Kamaria Richmond, and I have an exciting show for you today. We are talking to right now Mr. Robert Boyd, who is the producer of the Detroit Mailman. And as I was just mentioning, Talk Shoe starts early, so I'm starting early. And I think Papa Snoop is logging in, so let me admit him. But you hold on, Rob, because I want to talk to you as well.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And see here.
How you
Yes,
doing?
I'm here.
Hi, is that Papa Snoop?
Yep.
Hi, Papa Snoop. I'm on
How you,
now with Rob.
how you doing,
Hey,
Sister
hey,
Kamara?
Pop.
Good.
Great.
Hey, Rob, what's up, man?
Oh man, just ready to have a good time, Pop. Do your thing.
All
Yes,
right, man. Appreciate it.
absolutely. And Rob, I do want you to, stay on because in case there's some other questions about the documentary. And I'm just going to do my intro again. Welcome to the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. I am your host, Kamaria Richmond, and I have an exciting show for you today. We are talking to Vernell Verdado, who is also known as Papa Snoop. And yes, I did say Papa Snoop because he is the father of the legendary Snoop Dogg, the infamous rapper. And just a little backstory I met Papa Snoop and Rob a few weeks ago. I was in Detroit, Michigan, with my Black Door Society sisters. We were celebrating our third annual Founders Day weekend, and we stayed at the Cambria Hotel, which this hotel, a shout out to the Cambria, is just phenomenal. Excellent service all weekend long. And the who's who of everybody is at that hotel. So I come down for breakfast to have with my sister, Dr. Roz Akira Black, and sister Natalie Brimage, and they are talking to um, they were talking to Papa Snoop. They were talking to Rob, Rob's cousin 10. They were talking to Les Brown. There was someone from the Fridays franchise there as well. We didn't get a chance to talk to him, but we knew that it was another famous person. A, a day or two later, I was in the elevator with members of the SOS band, which I had just saw them a few months earlier here in the DMV. So shout out to the Cambria. But as we were talking with Papa Snoop and Rob, and it just felt like family. And so Papa Snoop and Rob invited us to his documentary premiere, and the documentary is called The Detroit Mailman. And so we had business earlier that day, but we said, you know what, we're going to cut everything well, we didn't cut anything short, but we're going to make sure we are on time with our business meeting, and we're going to get to Papa Snoop's premiere on time as well. So we want to thank you for inviting us. We had a lovely time. I want to mention that
Thank
this
you.
film is uh, produced by Rob and his lovely wife, Lucinda Boyd. And your sponsor is White Boy Rick. And if anyone hasn't seen that documentary on, was it Netflix? I think when it first
Right.
came out, that is a great story. And Rick, and what's Rick's last name? Is it Wersh or
I say
Wershier?
Working.
working.
Wershier, okay. Yes. So he was also at the premiere. We met him as well. So we want to have Papa Snoop on to talk about the documentary, but I wanted to just mention that Papa Snoop grew up in the deep south of Mississippi. He was in Vietnam. He has three Purple Hearts to show for it. He's also been in many TV shows, or I should say movies, and he has another one coming up called Troubled Man, and we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But Papa Snoop, you've had such an illustrious career. I mean, you were a Detroit mailman, you were also in Los Angeles, and but in Detroit, it was at the height of the drug war, where you could, as
Right.
a mail carrier, you could have lost your life. So we'll talk about that. But I always like to start with the backstory on growing up in Mississippi and what was the dream? What did you see for yourself? Because you grew up in the height of segregation, before uh,
Right.
I mean, so much was going on during that time. So kind of give us your backstory.
Well, my backstory was like this. I was born in 1949. I was kind of blessed because my dad had a landscaping business, and my dad, my last name was Renato, and I noticed when I was growing up, all of Renatos had money. All the sisters and brothers, they had money. His sister had a milk dairy. My auntie had a store about 6 houses down from us. Well, my other auntie, she did farming, but she had people working for him. So I grew up in leadership. I seen my dad and them had people to work for them. So by me being around that environment from the time I was born till I was 17 years old before I moved to California, it's instilled in me. So if you see what my son is doing, you see what I'm doing, he does what he do, and I'm doing what I'm doing, Kamari. And I'm carving my own path, thanks to Rob and this center. But growing up in Mississippi, you had your do's and don'ts. You had signs of color, white. A lot of people got killed in my hometown back then, and I think in 1955, Emmett Till was killed. And back then, a lot of people I grew up with, they was going to Chicago because they had jobs up there, right? So they had Oscar Myers, the meat packing plant. They had Argyle Storage, and they had Campbell Soup, and they had the steel mills in Gary, Indiana. But just what happened to my dad, my auntie that I lived with, my Aunt Velma, she lived in San Francisco. So that's how my family migrated to San Francisco. But back to the South, we grew up farming. My dad had a landscaping business, but I grew up in money, though. My dad used to have tax money, and that's why I still do landscaping. I have a landscaping business here in Georgia, landscape designs, and I would deal with that in the summertime. I have clients and everything, but I make some decent money. But we went to school I went to. We had good teachers. It was hardcore. And at the very first school I went to was one building I'll never forget, Fernwood High School. They had a creosote plant right next to it. If you know anything about creosote, the telephone poles that you see down south, those are pine trees, and they suck them in creosote. Back then, we didn't have air conditioning. Back then, lunch was only 15 cents. We had one building. Then I think in 1959, they built the brand new school walking distance from my mom's house called Eva Gordon, and that's where I went to school at. And back then, like I said, as long as you stayed in your place as a black, you was good. We didn't have a lot of entertainment. You went to church, Sunday school, Bible study, conference, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they had juke joints back then. And like we had one movie theater. The white kids would sit up top. We sit down at the bottom, but they would be throwing stuff at us. So I lived all that, but I don't hold no animosity against white people because the world has changed. But one thing I do know that my mom and dad had 12 kids. We never went to jail. We all finished high school. We all retired from our jobs. And like I said, I'm number 6 in the family. But I've always been a businessman because when my 2 older brothers left, I was with my dad every day. And my dad, he was all about his business. He was a workaholic, and he loved money. So that's the thing about me. I got my same day's work ethic. I've always wanted to be like my dad. Now looking at what my son Snoop is doing, I'm looking at what my grandkids are doing, and other than that, Mississippi to me, I worked for all the rich white people, the mayors, the judge. I do all of them, so I had no problem. But one thing I can say, if you're a black person and you motivated to be somebody, by me working for millionaires, they would have helped you. It wasn't the rich white people that didn't like us. It was the poor white people because they was poor. There's a difference between a poor white guy and a poor black guy. A poor white guy, well, he's going to look poor. A black guy, he might look poor, but he's going to fix the phone by buying a suit walk around like he got something, but he really don't have anything. So I seen that growing up. So I'm well around it. You know what I'm saying? And by me being a mailman for 25 years, going to Vietnam, I've had one hell of a life, but it's been a good life. Looking back in hindsight, and it made me the person who I am.
Wow, that is phenomenal. I mean, you definitely growing up in Mississippi during that time, you definitely know Black history. And I want to kind of pivot to what led you to go into the armed services during that time?
No, I was drafted. Kamara, I was drafted back then. I was drafted January 1968 because I
Mhm.
was 18 years old. Let me take you down memory lane. Back then, once you turn 18, you had to go down to the draft board and register for the draft, right? So once you register for the draft, if you wasn't in college, you know what I'm saying, and you go back down for your physical and you pass the physical, you was going to Vietnam. And don't forget, 1968, the Vietnam War was red hot.
Yeah.
The Tet Offensive was in January, last part of January. So, and plus Vietnam was television war, right? Nobody wanted to go. They took my whole block. All the guys I grew up with, most of them went to Vietnam. Some got lucky and went to Germany. Some got lucky and became cooks. But I was in the bush. So when I got drafted, uh, I was drafted in 1970. I took basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington, in Tacoma, Washington, and I went to Fort Bliss. I never forget April 4th when King got killed. Because back then, the United States, it was very racial back then. They had protesters. Think about it, protesters. They had riots. Blacks was fighting for their rights. But so King, Dr. King had went down to Memphis because the guys who collected the garbage, they uh, they was sick of being underpaid, and I think two of them got killed in the back of a garbage truck. They said it was an accident, but I'm saying they was killed on purpose. So King came down. I never forget April 4th. When he got killed, we was in our barracks, right? And this one white boy, he's from down south. I never forget this long as I live. He ran upstairs and said, King got killed. I'm glad that nigga got killed. Yes, so happened. All the
Hmm.
guys that I was training for with Vietnam, it was New York, Baltimore, they were city guys, you know what I'm saying? Brooklyn, the Bronx. I'm from the small town, population 2,500 people. And I don't know anything. No, and I had only lived in California for 2 years, so I wouldn't like them. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on the humble beginnings. They was bona fide street guys, right? And for 3 days, they whipped every white boy's ass on that base, right? So
Hmm.
that 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 led to me going to Vietnam. So let me tell you about Vietnam. I'm gonna make it real brief. I left Vietnam June 3rd. I left from Travis Air Force Base Travis Air Force Base in Fairfield, California. We stopped in Hawaii. We stopped in Wake Island. We stopped in Guam. And our last stop was the Philippines. And guess what we bumped into? James Brown. He was on his way to Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
because back then, no, back in those days, Kamara, a lot of entertainment was going to Vietnam. A lot of people was going to Vietnam because they was curious about the war, right? So when I landed in Vietnam, we landed about 6:30 that morning. Because it's only a 2.5 hour flight from the Philippines from Clark Air Force Base to Vietnam. So we 18 years old. We okay. So what? We going to Vietnam, but we weren't thinking about what we was going to face when we got there, right? We had saw it on TV. We had seen film about these guys. You know what I'm saying? But now you're there. You know what I'm saying? So when we got off the plane was unloading. We had got off. Some of my boys had got off, and we started hearing these loud explosions behind the plane. They was getting closer and closer. And the sergeant said he should run into the bunker. We only been in Vietnam less than 35 minutes. We run inside the bunker. We didn't have a gun. All we had was our paperwork. Because we was FNGs. That's what they call you when you come to Vietnam. FNGs, freaking new guys, right?
Mhm.
So after that, and when I got to my unit, that's when reality set in about am I gonna make it out of here? Because I was in 241 firefights, shootouts. I was wounded 3 times. Okay, it was I was at a fire base called LG Action. We was getting hit sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Then we had to go out there on a mission. So I've been through it. You know what I'm saying? So I spent 11 months, 26 days in Vietnam. I made it back. Got out January 1970. Came to the post office March 1970. Because back then they had jobs. You feel me? So that's my tour in Vietnam.
Well, thank you, Papa Snoop, for your service. And I am so honored that you were awarded 3 Purple Hearts. So thank you for your service. And you just gave us a great
Thank you.
segue to get into going from Vietnam into the post office. And so I know during that time, jobs were limited for Black people, and there were certain things that you could do. Luckily for you, you were blessed that you had a family that knew business, and so you could have charted a path, and your path could have gone in so many different directions, but you chose to be a mail carrier, and thank
Hmm.
you for your service, because we know that that is not an easy job. But what was it that drew you to that as a career?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I'm glad you asked me that question, tomorrow. Okay, I would come. I had a sister-in-law and a sister working at the post office during the time. Back in the day, they had special delivery. Now they got overnight delivery, right? So I used to fly back from El Paso, Texas, my last 6 months in the military, to my brother's house in LA to see my brothers and sisters, right? So I noticed that my sister-in-law, she worked at the post office, had the uniform on, and she would knock her route out. Because back then, special delivery, you just drove around giving people mail because they wanted it real quick, right? She would park her station wagon in the garage. She'd be on 4 or 5 hours. I'm asking her, "Are you off work?" She said, "No, I'm still working." And she's, "Oh, by the way, the post office is hiring Vietnam veterans." So just so happened, this is gonna blow your mind. Just so happened, they started this program called Project Transition, to transition you from the military back to the outside world, unless you was gonna re-enlist. You see what I'm saying? So I was in school for the post office 3 months. So the first month it was all classes, right? The last 2 months they would send us out with the mail carriers, and I noticed all the mail carriers they would finish their route in 1 or 2 hours, and they go to the bar and get drunk all day long. I said, okay, this is the kind of job I need. This is me. So I did 15 years in LA. I did 10 years in Detroit. I did 25 years. And the only reason I retired because my son had got in trouble, and he had came out with his album Doggy Style. He sold a whole lot of records, right? So then I retired from the post office really about 2 weeks before I turned 47 years old in 95. And the rest is history, and here I am.
Wow, that is amazing. And so I wanted to, talk about your time as a mail carrier, because you were in the on the east side where there was drugs, and there was, a lot going on. It wasn't very safe. How did you, and I'm assuming, it was your faith and your family, but how did you make it during those times? I mean, you did that service for many, many years, and it wasn't safe.
Right.
Yeah, so how did you do
Well,
it?
here's the deal. Well, the first 15 years in LA was cool. I worked on 39th and Crenshaw, which is everybody know about Crenshaw Boulevard. I worked in Baldwin Hills. Excuse me. I worked in the Darrell Heights. So LA was a different story, right? LA was like, they looked down on me. I mean, LA because Hollywood, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I really, really didn't care. The post office gave me a good life. I've always been good with money, thanks to my dad. I've always been hard working, you know what I'm saying? And LA was a cakewalk. It was in 1985 when me and two of my boys said, let's transfer to Detroit. I had a couple cousins up there. Excuse me. I went there 1 year. They had a club called a 20 Grand. I heard about it all the time in LA, right? But I didn't know nothing about Detroit. So I went to Detroit. It was in the summertime, and he started showing me these big houses, and they was dirt cheap compared to LA, right? I had bought a duplex in Inglewood. I mean, it was nice and everything. And in 1979, they came up with this thing called Proposition 13 in LA. To where one night I went to bed, my house was worth about $6,000. The next morning I woke up, Kamara, it was worth over $100,000. So that being said, when I transferred to Detroit, I had a pocket full of money. So when I get to Detroit, I got there in the wintertime because I drove. I made a pit stop in Mississippi to see my mom and dad. I got to Detroit 2 days, Thanksgiving Day. I never forget, Thanksgiving night. And my cousin gave me the direction, but I was lost. I was stuck on Grand River. I'm driving real slow. People blowing their horn. Get the hell out of the way, I'm thinking when it snow, everybody's at home. But Detroit, snow don't mean nothing to Detroit, right? So that being said, I started working in the post office in '85, and I lived on the west side for a minute. But I noticed the west side had drug dealers, right? So I was caught up in a couple of shootouts on the west side. I worked on the west side from '85 to the middle of '89. But I had bought a house on the east side. I bought my first house in Detroit with 29.5. It was a bungalow. If you don't know what a bungalow is, the whole upstairs is yours, right? So that being said, I said, well, I'm gonna transfer to the east side. Cause it was a post office 10 minutes from my house. Okay, instead of me driving 10 miles on the west side, I can drive 10 minutes to the post office. You know what I'm saying? That way I can sleep. You know what I'm saying? So when I came to the east side, I've been living on the east side. But I was living there, but when I started delivering mail on the east side, where Rob is from, the Parkside Projects, and Alter Road and Shadeland and stuff. That's time I began to realize, hey man, this all the real drug dealers on the east side, all the tough guys on the east side. Because in Detroit, the east side didn't deal with the west side didn't deal with the east side. Somebody would never understand, but by me being from LA, I'm all over the place, right? So I've been caught up in shootouts in Detroit. Most of my route, I had 470 stops, but I would say about 35% of the blocks I was on, it was drug dealers. It was drugs. I mean, it was heroin and cocaine. But one thing about Detroit, I noticed that we marijuana wasn't big up there, but cocaine and heroin, it was humongous. And those guys were making money, man. I had some friends of mine that I worked with. I'm not gonna call their name. They worked at the post office. They had people out there dealing for them and stuff. And when I got there, I think they had a gang called the Young Boys Incorporated. They had just kind of died down and stuff. But the East Side took me to school. Detroit is a different world in LA. Detroit got working people, they foot soldiers, they hustlers, they steal cars. But Detroit gets a bad rap. And like I tell people, if you never lived there, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it around me. But like I said, Detroit, like I said, is a tough city, and it's home for me because in LA, I really never had no relationships. I had so-called friends, but Detroit, I got friends. But when every time I go to Detroit tomorrow, it's like I never left. You know what I'm saying? Because my boys will be there for me. Period. If they down with you in Detroit, they down. But you can't be a team player and jump ship. Either you're a team player or you're not. That's how Detroit is.
Absolutely. I lived in Detroit in the late 90s for 1 year. It is too cold.
Uh,
And a few,
but you're in Maryland though.
I'm sorry.
But you live in Maryland, right?
Yes, I do. But in the late 90s,
Well,
I did 1 year in Detroit and then I moved to Atlanta. It was too
where are
cold.
you from though? Are you from Maryland?
I am from the DMV, born in DC, but raised in Maryland. Then I went to Michigan, then Atlanta, then Virginia, and now back in Maryland. But it was good being there a few weeks ago because I hadn't been there since 1990. Oh, that must have been 95 or 96 or 97 when I lived there.
Mm.
So it was good
Uh-huh.
being there. And of course, we all connected, which is great. And so this is another great segue, talking about your work as a mail carrier. So you're doing this documentary, and we have on the line with us one of the producers, Mr. Robert Boyd. And so the documentary is called The Detroit Mailman, and it's sharing your untold story. And Rob, you can jump in here if you like. I want to know the inspiration for doing this story and for doing it now.
Well, thanks for asking that question. Well, inspiration came when we met Pop. We met Pop in 2021 after Mom's passed, which is Snoop mother. She sat on our nonprofit board for 10 years. So we was very strong friends with Mom's. And when she passed, we met Pop at the burial ground. And he seen us walking toward the van. And he asked us how we got there. We told him. And make a long story short, we jumped in the limo with Pop, and the rest is history. We exchanged phone numbers. and we started talking every day. And I started visualizing everything Pop was starting to tell me about him being in Vietnam, about him being a postal worker. And then he said he worked in Detroit. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, where you work at in Detroit? Then he was like, he named my hood. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. So it was like, it's, I believe in faith, and whatever God got for you to do, he going to give you that assignment. So it was just imperative to tell Pop's story. And 36 years later, me and him had been running across each other all the time, but never knew each other, was running in that same circle, him being in my hood. So I came up and say, hey, man, let's do a documentary on you, the Detroit Mailman. And Pop say, hey, let's make it happen. So me and my wife end up filming it and producing it, and here we are.
Wow, and definitely say hello to your lovely wife, Lucinda, because we met her in Detroit as well. And so, what do you think is the message in sharing this story for Papa Snoop? And Papa Snoop, you
Well,
can answer that too. What is the heart and soul of the documentary?
Well, that's easy.
the heart is,
Go ahead on, Rob.
go ahead, Pop.
No, the heart and soul is that. Let me say this first. When Rob called me and told me about the Detroit mailman, and Rob, this is no lie, man. As long as I've been working in the post office, you told me that's why I'm laughing. I said, all these years I worked in the post office. Why couldn't I have thought about that? But you did it for me, right? So it's not really. It shocked me, but I'm glad he did. Right? Because here's the deal: people don't realize what goes on in the post office. You got the mail handlers. They're the guys when they bring the mail in to these big distribution centers. They sort the packages. Then you got the clerks. They sort the mail. But the post office, the mailman is supposed to close. Think about it. I worked in. I trained carriers in Vietnam. I mean, I'm not speaking in Detroit for 10 years, right? So I walked in the snow, the rain. People don't realize when they say rain, speed, and snow. That's me, okay? I've been on all ends. L.A., earthquakes, okay, shutdown winds, fires. Detroit was a different story. I'd never been around snow like period. Except for Washington, that's for a couple months. I mean, now I'm living there, so now I'm walking. I'm walking the snow. But to me, it was fun looking back in hindsight, because to me, the best time to deliver mail in Detroit was in the wintertime, because most people did not shovel the steps. But being a mailman is like this: when you get your own route, you sit for your whole career. So my route was Nottingham, Baltimore, Somerset, and Nottingham. Okay, being a mailman, right? You can get killed for sure, but it educates you, because if I had 470 stops on my route, that means I'm dealing with 470 families, right? Times maybe 3 or 4 to a family, 5 or 6 to a family. So I'm dealing with all kinds of personalities, right? And being a mailman, you have to be nice. When you're a mailman, if you're nice, Christmas time comes, the neighborhood, everybody gonna break you up, and you gonna see every day. You start walking your route. You know everybody's business. Okay, you know who get this, who get that, who went around. But the good part about it is that you get educated, because you're around all kinds of people, and Detroit educated me. Being a mailman there in LA, because LA people are kind of standoffish. You know what I'm saying? They isolate. But Detroit, I'm around black people. You see what I'm saying? I'm around all blacks from Alabama, from the South, and everything, hardworking people, and it just gave me one hell of education in Detroit. I mean, Detroit got me to where I am right now. It made me tough. It gave me knowledge, because living in LA for 15 years, I wasn't used to being around blacks. You know, I barely seen my brothers and sisters. When I got to Detroit, I got bona fide friends there. When you came to my premiere, Kamara, all those people there, they came there for me. Those are my friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Those are my friends. LA. If I had someone in LA right now, maybe 2 or 3 people show up. But that what I invited you and your girlfriends to, that everybody in that room at night, they know me. So we all been through it. We all put soldiers, and we got a coalition because most guys I work with, the post office back then was mostly military guys, right? So
Mhm.
we call ourselves the foot soldiers. And like I said, you gonna get caught. You get caught up. You get caught up in situations being a mailman. I watched kids grow up and be somebody on my route. I watched kids grow up and go to jail. I seen some grow up and get killed. So it's like you become a part of the neighborhood. But there are going to be situations on your route that's going to come up, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're walking. It's different when you ride in the car, riding through a neighborhood. But when you walking the neighborhood every day for 6 years, like I did, and got your own route, you know what I'm saying? Anything can happen.
Mm.
But you form relationships, though. You form lifetime relationships. If I went back to Detroit right now on my route, if some people that still living there, they remember me. Now I got people hit me up on Instagram, man. We miss you. You was the coolest man, which I was. I mean, I grew up down south, and I was brought up to treat people right. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I was. But like I said, being a mailman, you can get killed. But being a mailman has its benefits. Okay, it has its benefits to where it's going to educate you. It's going to teach you how to treat people. It's just going to make you a judge of character on people. So I got the whole package. Long story short, all my boys got. We talk about it all the time on how the post office educated all of us, man. Be the mailman.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Rob, do you want to add to that?
Yes, I just wanted to say we gonna shop this documentary for a movie deal because that was just a real small insight of pop, that we just wanted to show the people. But with this movie deal we're working on, we're gonna take it all the way back when Pop was born, when he first met
Mm-hmm.
moms, they got together in the South, and then we're gonna take it to the Vietnam and take it to LA, Detroit, and we're just gonna make this a real full-fledged movie so people can truly understand where Pop came from and what his legacy is all about. So it's about Papa Snoop legacy.
I love that you said that because that was one of my questions about Papa Snoop leaving his legacy, and that's exactly what the film will do. And how did White Boy Rick get involved? How did he become a sponsor in the film?
Well, me and Rick grew up together. That's my little homie.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been knowing Rick since he was 13. Yeah, that's my man.
Oh,
So
you know his full
when
story.
yeah, so when I asked him to sponsor it, when I first introduced him to Pop, when me and my wife went home and started filming, and he automatically, hey, no problem, got you, big homie. So yeah, that was automatically. So when it was that time, uh, him and his homeboy Leaf and Bud, they put all that together. They sponsored the whole thing. So it was a great thing, and shout out to my homeboy, white boy Rick and Leaf and Bud for making that jump like that.
Abs-
Same here, Rob. Right boy Rick, like I said, the man.
Absolutely. And how can people watch the documentary? And you were having your private screening at the Cambria Hotel, but is it out for people to watch nationwide, or how can people get a hold of the
Well,
story?
nobody can watch it at all.
Okay.
It was just we already had two private viewings, and one in Arizona, and then we had one in Detroit, and we got another one coming up, soon. But that's going to be it. And like I said, we're basically shopping it for a movie deal
Okay.
and getting the real live film where people can actually, go to the theater and watch this. You feel me? Or Netflix or Hulu. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we on that page now.
Okay. And I mean, that's going to be exciting. I only watched a few minutes of the documentary, and I was like, wow, Papa Snoop has a story to tell. And so I want to make another transition. So, Papa Snoop, you are a hardworking man, and you have a son that's
Hmm.
breaking into the music industry. How were you able to um, kind of, you know, do both hats as, a working father? Because we know going into the music industry is not an easy feat, but, getting Snoop
Right.
on his way. How did you do that with work, I guess, work and family?
Well, no, look, here's the deal. Dude, let me tell you where his career started at. In 1987, Beverly, his mom, which she and I grew up, we from the same hometown.
Mm.
She called me. She said he was getting in trouble. He became a gangbanger, and she was sick of she was sick of his ass. She said, "I'm sending him up to Detroit for the whole summer with you from here." And this really changed Snoop's life. I ain't gonna lie to you. So sent him up there for the summer. It just so happened I was still working on the west side. So this black guy named Stu, he owned a McDonald's on 8 Mile in Woodingham. And, you know, they knew me because I trained carriers and I was bringing me up by there. And the manager, Deborah, she was my girlfriend during the time. So when Bella told me she was sending him and told me when he was coming, I drove by McDonald's and told Deborah, I said, look here, my son's coming up here for the summer. His mama is having problems out of him, hanging out with gangbangers. I said, can you give him a job here at McDonald's? She said, oh, Brennan, not a problem. So what I did, the night he came, he got to about 11:30, 4 o'clock. I woke him up. He got mad, and I told him, "Tell homeboy, early bird catch the worm. This is not long. We go sleep all day long in my house. When I get up, you getting up." So got him his first job at McDonald's. I think about 3 weeks deep. He had the early shift, right? But it was perfect because he was like 8 block. It was 8 block walk from McDonald's down to the post office where I work at. I worked on 8 Mile in Living North. He worked on 8 Mile in Woodern now. So I would drop him off, make sure he was at work at 5 o'clock in the morning because I got him in the early shift. Okay, because it fit right into my schedule. And I would go to the post office and sit around till it was time for me to clock in, maybe about an hour and 15 minutes. So, but at the week 3, at McDonald's, I pulled up one day at the in the parking lot. I say, man, tell Snoop I'm outside, man, to pick him up. And I heard somebody say, "Hey, Young Eggs." I'm trying to figure out who's that. So when Sue came out, he got in the car. He was 15 years old. I was still, what? I said, "Who's Young Eggs?" He's a father. That's me. He's some good at cracking eggs. So he was always rapping at McDonald's, right? And by him being away from LA, rapping around the homeboys, now you around in Detroit around a bunch of blacks. They're older than you, and they loving your music, right? So they kept telling me, man, your son gonna be a star one day, man. You're a hell of a rapper. Kamara, I'm a singer. I'm thinking one thing, Motown. I've been to Motown, Snake Pit. Where they recorded all those hit records there.
Yeah.
And he was always rapping, and I was actually laughing at him. So one day we was going fishing, me, him, and my boy West. We was going down by the Detroit River, and I had a long day that day, man. And he was rapping. I said, "Hey, Snoop, I don't feel like hearing that. You know what?" He said, "This is what he told me. You ready for this?" He said, "Hey, Pops, one day the whole world's gonna know who the hell I am. I'll never forget that long as I live." And me and my homeboy started laughing. And guess what? The whole world know who he is. That's how
Exactly.
much he believed in himself. I'm dead serious. 15 years old, he told me that.
Wow.
The whole world's gonna know who the hell I am.
Well, he is absolutely, that was a truth for sure. That was a truth for sure. And it takes, a whole village to raise a child and to get them on the right path. And so you taught him a valuable lesson really, really early. And so in your own right, Papa Snoop
Right.
mentioned that, you were a singer, but you also, you've had your own music artist. You've been in a few movies. Let's see, Make It Rain in 2008, All Eyes on Me,
Yeah, rhymes.
2018.
Right, and rhymes and reason. Now the movie I did last year with Michael J. White, that comes out in September, called Trouble Man.
Trouble
But
Man.
this movie, right? But let me say this: the first 2 movies, I I had maybe one line right.
Hmm.
This movie right here with Michael J. White, all my scenes is with him. It's with him and his wife, and they all speaking things. So that's going to catapult me up the food chains in the music business. I mean, the movie business. Because let me take it back. I knew him from Mike Tyson, right? And I didn't know he had did all these movies. I didn't know he had been around that long, right? I really didn't know nothing about him, but Mike Tyson. That's all I knew.
Uh-huh.
And once I found out who he was, I'm saying to myself, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah,
I'm sitting up, I'm doing a movie with a superstar,
he's
and
been
didn't
around
realize it.
a long time. Yes.
He been around how long? About 20 years.
Probably, or I mean, ever since I can remember, he's been in
I
so
said
many.
over 15 years he's been around. I know that for a fact.
Yes, yes, for sure. I mean, and I love him now.
But
He's on Kingdom Business with Yolanda Adams. I love that show.
now that him and his wife Gillian, they just started a podcast about being married, about love and marriage. You know what I'm saying? You got that going on. But here's the deal: they love me to death. And let me tell you how that movie came about. I'll make it real quick. This young lady that I know named Red, right? She top dog makeup artist in Hollywood, right? She's been feeling Red about 39 years old. I met her through my grandson when he was doing fashion, and it does it about 10 years ago. So she when they was walking the picket line, the writers and everybody that when the movie business kind of went down,
Yes,
you remember that
yes,
last year?
yes.
Yeah, okay. This SAG after. I'm SAG after, right? So she called me because everybody was desperate for money. Because what's no filming or nothing going on in L.A. But she called me. She said she's very. She said Michael J. White is shooting a movie in Atlanta, Georgia, and you find me at Airbnb. She said. And I told her I said, Red, I've known you for a long time. If I got a big house, 4 bedrooms, you and your girlfriend could come stay with me. She said, it's going to be 20 days. I said, I don't care. It's going to be a whole year. I said, I've known you for a long time. We've always had fun together. Come stay with me. And I make sure that you get to the set. You won't have to rent a car. And then actually, I said, get me a part in the movie. But I'm just playing around, right? So the day before she came from her, this going to blow you away. The day before she came, about 9 hours before she was ready to leave, she said, Vernell, she said, I got you in the movie. I was thinking she playing. I said, for real, she said, yeah. She said, he's looking for a guy, 73 years old, to play this guy named Willis, but his budget doesn't have enough money to fly him back and forth, right? And she said, you 73 years old? I was right. And she said, he went on your Instagram page and seen about all the things you had did. She said, you in the movie, just like that.
Wow, that is amazing.
But hold it, it get better than that. My name is Vernell, right? My real name Vernell, right?
Uh,
His mother's name Vernell.
oh, wow.
I
Wow.
couldn't believe it. Red said, by the way, he definitely got to put you in the movie because you got the same name as Mama got. His mama's name Vernell too.
That is amazing. Oh, that is such a
Can you
great
believe that?
story. That is such a great story. Oh my goodness. That is
Man,
a great story. And that comes
but you
out
know what? That's what September.
September. Okay.
September. So my next thing, but here's the next thing that I'm waiting for is to walk the red carpet. Now the Red told me it's gonna be on the big screen. You don't know, nowadays when you're independent, like Michael is independent, right? He
Mhm.
puts his own money up, so it's not likely that he got a hell of a budget. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
the people he has in the movie, he got Mike Epps in it, he got Method Man in it, he got Kamara Anthony's wife in it, he got T Sweat in it, he got me in it. So I want a good cast. You know what I'm saying? But I've been in the game 30 some years, 32 years. But I've always worked in the background. But this is the biggest thing I ever did. And let me say this: that's one of the best movie sets I've been on. Or it's me shooting a movie. His set, 20 Days of Fun. I couldn't believe it. Everybody was cool as hell. Some sets you go on, everybody ain't cool. But this set, white guys, black guys, everybody worked on the set. We had fun. We had a whole lot of fun.
Oh wow. Well, I am looking forward to seeing that. And any other projects coming up, Papa Snoop?
Right now, me and Rob's main focus is what we doing. Detroit Mailman, And Rob, just get something else together. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know. I know whatever it is, it's gonna be positive. Let me say this: Rob and his wife and son was God sent to me. I ain't gonna lie to you, because because they trustworthy. But the good part about it, Rob knows the game. Rob been in the game longer than me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just here. I am at home, laying on my couch every day, watching TV. And my second grandson called me one day. That was last year, Rob. He called me.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, dirty. He called me and said, "Grandpa, he said, get off that couch." He said, "And go out there and come out to California and go out there and get what you deserve in this business." He said, "You have not got your props," which I haven't. But I'm a very humble guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I'm out here and people see me moving. Every move Rob and his wife make, we call it the Queen. Him and the Queen make, they got me moving. Okay, and I connect with a better team. Plus they're my godchildren because they was Sue's mom's godchildren, and they asked me could they be my god? I say hell yeah. So it's all about love, but we all about business though. You know, all work and no play. You know what I'm saying? We work first, then we play, right, Rob?
Ain't no question, Pop.
I know that's right.
We work first, yeah, then we play. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's what we're doing right now, Kamara. I know we're gonna stay in touch with you. I'm gonna keep you posted on things. I do want to do another interview with you and everything.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you do, but you putting me on your show. Thank you. Love you for it.
Oh, well,
Definitely appreciate that.
thank you all. We love you all too, because I think there was I just walked into the room and I just felt like I was instantly connected to you all because you're warm and friendly and inviting, and you invited us to the premiere. And Rob, I did want you to talk about your organization with your lovely wife, The Streets Don't Love You
Oh,
Back
wow.
organization, because
Oh, thank
you sent me the information online. I was like, wow, you all are doing some incredible work. So I definitely wanted you to talk to our audience about The Streets Don't Love You Back.
Oh, thanks for asking. In 2009, me and my wife created the Streets Don't Be Back organization to educate against gangs, drugs, and violence. The life I came from. I got into the game at 10 years old, selling drugs, gang banging, and then became a major drug dealer and gang leader. And I eventually changed my life. And now I do what I do with my wife. And we have a prison reform program. She put together the Streets From Love You Back Life Skill Intervention Program. It's in 170 prisons throughout the United States, and that's our give back and our ties to help people get their life together, you know.
Mm.
And other than that, you know, we've been doing it for 15 straight years, and we do it with our own money. And I just thank God that we're able to do it. And He gave me and her that assignment, and we take that assignment very seriously because it's about helping people move forward. And we done won several awards. Last year, here in our own community, the mayor and the city council gave us our own day, Robin Lucinda Day, every year, March 8th, and the Streets Will Love You Back Day. So that was a great accomplishment, and couldn't get no bigger than that, you know what I mean, for doing the work. And we're never looking for anything. We just love doing our assignment.
Wow. Well, God bless you for that. I love it that you said you all are doing your assignment. And before we wrap up, was there anything else that you wanted to cover, Papa Snoop or Rob, that we haven't covered?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just,
yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
I just wanted to say thanks for having us on here again, and just want to send love out to my lovely queen, my lovely wife, my best friend. She's asleep, but hey, I love you, honey, and thanks to our whole team that rock with us throughout the whole United States and overseas. We up.
Awesome. And Papa Snoop?
Yeah, I want to say I appreciate you having me and Rob on your show. I want to send a shout out to my entire family, to my immediate family, Snoop, my grandkids, great grandkids, and my mom and dad. May you rest in peace, and to my boy Wes. in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I want to send a shout out to you for being so professional. And like I said, whenever you come down to Atlanta, Georgia, and your girls, you make a call, we'll hook up and everything, man. But like I said, let's stay in touch, because as right now, as of today, we have a relationship.
We do. And I do want to mention that, Papa Snoop, his sister just passed. And I thought for sure that,
Right.
he's not going to be able to do a podcast. Maybe we need to reschedule. But Papa Snoop, being the man that he is, said, no, baby, I will be there. And so I want to, again,
Right.
publicly give you condolences and love and prayers to you and your
Thank
family.
you.
And thank you for doing this.
Thank
And
you. I appreciate it.
oh, absolutely. And so for Papa Snoop and Rob, let folks know how they can get in touch with you and find you on social media, and especially Rob for the Streets Don't Love You Back organization.
Yeah, you can go on my Instagram page, Pop Snoop, P-O-P Snoop. That's my Instagram page. Okay, once again, Pop Snoop, P-O-P Snoop. One word. Look for all the fans I can get.
Ain't no question. And on our Instagram, you can just Google up The Streets Will Love You Back, and it'll come up. And if you want to book Papa Snoop, you can also go to the Papa Snoop fan page, which I run that page. I'm a pop manager, me and my wife. Once again, love.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
love you all, Kamara.
Oh, I love you all too. Thank you so much. I want to let you know that Talk Show is live and recorded. And so once we're done, it will download and I will send you a copy of that. I'm happy because it looks like we didn't have any glitches today, which I'm very happy about. We got,
Right.
I don't have to worry about doing any editing before I put this on Spotify. Everything was smooth as sailing. And so,
You got it straight raw, Miss Camaro,
yes, because every show there is always some kind of technical glitch. So this I am very happy to see. So I love you all. Thank you so much for being on the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. Of course, I will have you back as many times over because I know that you're going to be sharing amazing stories and amazing works. And so once this uploads, I will post on social media. I will tag you all in it. I want to say have a fabulous weekend, and to the guests that will be listening later, everyone have a fabulous weekend. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Kamaria T. Richmond. Until next time, just stay fabulous. Thank you, Papa Snoop. Thank you, Rob, so much.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Ross.